Congratulations to all the graduates and their families. Congratulations. Be very, very proud of yourselves. Graduating is a big deal. This is a very important milestone. Congratulations. I can't say it enough. I'm very excited for all of you because you are graduating at an extraordinary time in our world's history. This is really a time like no other. And when I say it's a time where we're truly only limited by our own imagination and our creativity. It's a time where we can embrace what makes us different and what makes us unique. It's also a time where we can dream big, big dreams, where we can do what we love and live our passion. And my own life has been an example of this possibility. Running around as an African child, barefoot, I never imagined in a million years that I would one day get to design satellites, send them into space with my signature on them, or that I would even help the Boeing company create a technology that has changed the movie distribution industry. Or even, it was never even a thought that I could go on to create my own companies, technology companies doing business with the likes of Microsoft and Xbox, Coca-Cola Company, Black Eyed Peas, and the list goes on. A lot of times, people assume that I must come from great privilege or some kind of advantage in order to have been able to have some of these opportunities that have been available. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I truly believe that today, what used to be the domain of just only a few privileged and the well-connected is now available to every single one of us. I actually come from very humble beginnings, and I will share my story with you. I was born in Syracuse, New York, to Ghanaian parents. I see Syracuse is in the house. I was born in Syracuse, New York, to Ghanaian parents. My parents are from Ghana. Some of you might have to Google that. It's in West Africa. When I was still young, we went back to Ghana where I grew up. We had some good times, but there were also some really tough times. In fact, when I was growing up, it was among some of the most turbulent times in the country's history. When I was about 8 or so, the government had been overtaken by military rogues. There were soldiers running the streets. I had friends whose parents were actually taken away and shot, to death through firing squad. Food, was very hard to come by. I remember many, many days without food. Nights when I would just cry, to sleep from hunger. But in the midst of all that chaos and despair, there was one place that I could escape, and that was in my books. I knew then, just as I know now, that my books and my education would be the ticket to a different life, the type of life that I had imagined for myself. I remember it as if it was, just yesterday. I'll try not to get emotional. But I was watching our television set, and I saw this program on space exploration. It was something about, someone walking on the moon. It just lit my insides with so much hope. And soon I wanted to find out about this place where, even regular people could dare to dream to walk on the moon. So when I turned 16, I begged my parents to send me back to America, where I knew I would have a better life. And they did so at great sacrifice, scraping together their life savings to buy me a ticket. And they put $50 in my pocket and sent me on my way. I remember it very, very well. When I arrived in the US, it was September 29, 1989. As we were descending, I saw more lights than I had ever seen in my whole life. It truly felt as if we were landing on another planet. And this was just in North Carolina. So imagine if I had landed in Las Vegas. I truly knew what the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin, what he meant when he said, his first words from space were, "I see Earth and it is beautiful." And one of the first letters that I wrote home, that is what I said. I said, "I see America and it is beautiful." I was picked up by a host family who drove me to South Carolina. I marveled as we drove past streets with names of dreamers like Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Edison. We went past some of the tallest buildings I had ever seen, past what I called bastions of Americana. These were things I had only seen in movies. The Coke machine at the 7-Eleven. Yes, I was very easily impressed back then. I was just delighted to be in the midst of the realizations of people's imaginations and dreams. All these wonders, I thought to myself, started as mere thoughts in people's heads. You know, mix this, mix that, what do you know, Coke. I set out to realize my own American dreams too. Before coming to America, I did my research. I watched a movie called Coming to America. And in this movie, the young African Prince Hakeem goes to Queens, New York to find his bride. So a day after graduation, I took the midnight train, headed out to New York, in search of a new life, opportunities, and perhaps to bump into Prince Hakeem. I remember I arrived at Grand Central Station, I mini-mowed it, and ended up on the number 3 train. Last stop, Brooklyn. So, New Lots, Brooklyn, the very last stop on the number 3 train. I had nowhere else to go. It became my home. Like Prince Hakeem, I got a job at McDonald's. I worked as a fry cook. When I got my first paycheck, $178, I converted it to the Ghanaian money and I was an instant millionaire. So I thought that had been an error. So I went to my boss, Eduardo, and asked him, was there a mistake with my paycheck? He thought I was complaining. So he responded, I'll tell you what, you want more money? You have to earn it. I'll give you a pay raise. I just lost one of my cashiers. If you want the position, it's all yours, but you have to start today. That's when I learned my first lesson in American Business 101. Don't be afraid to ask for more money, even when you feel completely undeserving. If things go your way, act as if you planned it all along. If it doesn't, look at the guy on fries and go, what were you thinking? Couldn't be up to this. So I became a cashier. Becoming a cashier was actually one of the worst and best things that happened to me. People couldn't understand me when I spoke. I don't understand why. When people speak to someone with an accent, often they speak slowly and then they speak louder. I can hear you, you just can't understand me. Calm down. I couldn't figure out the money. In most countries, all the different denominations of money are different colors. In America, everything is green. This was a source of a lot of pain for me. And here I was at the Fulton Street McDonald's, what felt like the busiest McDonald's in the world. And I couldn't make money, I couldn't work the cash register. And New Yorkers wanted their McMuffins, McGriddles, McCoffee in the morning. And the only thing that stood between them and their quick breakfast was this foreign moron. They called me more than that. I knew it was only a matter of time before I was fired. There was always a long line in front of my cash register. I felt like I let everybody down. My friends, my family, even my colleagues on Fry's were like, man, you just blew our chances. I knew I had to do something different, and going back to Fry's was not an option. I had experienced the joy of living without the fear of hot exploding oil droplets, and I was not about to go back to Fry's. I realized then that unlike the movies, there is no Prince Hakeem in real life. And that if I wanted to live the life I had imagined, I had to create it. I would stay up late at night studying my craft, the American dollars. I actually came up with a system when someone told me, every dollar has a dead president on there. So I figured if it was the sideburns, it was a $5 bill. If it was a Bob, it was Benjamin Franklin. We didn't get a lot of Benjis, but when we did, it was a good day. So one night I was up So one night I was up studying, and I heard a commercial. It talked about doing more by 5 a.m. than most people get to do in a lifetime. I said, whatever it is, sign me up. It was a commercial for the Army. So on my next day off, I went down to the Army recruiting office to sign up. When I got there, the Army recruiter told me to wait for him in the lobby. As I looked up, I saw this man mountain of awesomeness walking in. This awesome guy with an amazing smile, really big smile and even bigger biceps. It was the Air Force recruiter. Needless to say, I ended up joining the Air Force. It's actually quite scary when I think about it, your basis of making lifelong decisions at 17. People would ask me, why do you join the Air Force? The recruiter was cuter. Duh. And at 17, it made perfect sense to me. I ended up in Turkey during Desert Storm in the Air Force. I worked as a communications specialist. We would actually go into the field and set up all the equipment so that the troops could talk to each other and also send communications back to the coast. I'm coming for a couple of days. The engineer on duty was on the phone doing some communicating of his own, dropping some F-bombs and so on. I went in there and I replaced some components and fixed the truck, the equipment. When he heard it come back on, he came in and asked me if I'd fixed it. And he suggested to me, you should really think about becoming an engineer. Up until that point, I really didn't know anyone in that engineering discipline, but I listened to him. And I applied for a scholarship for outstanding airmen to go back to school to become an engineer. That year, surprisingly, I was the only selectee from all the U.S. forces in Europe selected to go back to school with that scholarship. And very soon I started hearing, better words, not just F words affiliated with my name. Things like outstanding, brilliant. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I went back to school to study engineering with a focus in deep space science, and I minored in psychology. I've always been a child of two worlds, always looking for opportunities to connect technology and people, the creative and the technical. And after grad school, the world opened up to me. I consider my degree, when I got it, I said I received my Jedi powers, which is what you're all getting ready to receive too. Please use it for good. I sought out interesting opportunities, and they came. I worked on a lot of very fun projects. I even got a chance to work on NASA's search for extraterrestrial intelligence, sending heat probes into space in search of intelligent life forms. I was hoping to hit the jackpot and find a group such as yourself in space, the Intergalactic Academy of Design and Technology. But I had no such luck. I then went on to work as a network designer, building networks. I worked with everyone from HBO to Disney. I even designed Fuji TV, which is a Japanese television network from scratch. From there, the Boeing company came calling. I was selected as one of 2 engineers to create digital cinema, which is the technology for distributing movies over satellite. One of the first movies that we distributed was Star Wars. I had to watch that movie about 100 times. That was a lot of popcorn. I also founded Gen 2 Media, which is now Bitteroo, an emerging video technology company with clients such as the Billboard Awards, VGAs, Black Eyed Peas, Xbox, and the list goes on. Today, I am actually also the proud founder and co-president of one-to-one.com, an event-driven and mobile application for people to find whatever they're looking for. Everything from a golf buddy to a love connection. People ask me, how do you go from sending heat probes into space in search of intelligent life forms to now launching a dating company? I say that the mission is the same. I'm still looking for intelligent life forms. The tools, of course, course, have changed. There are no probes involved here on Earth. To me, anything that solves a problem for another human being is a humanitarian act. And this has also, service has been the cornerstone of my success, and it has brought me infinite gratification. In the end, you will be remembered for one of two things: the problems that you create and the problems that you solve. Endeavor to solve more problems than you create. I will leave you with three things which have helped me tremendously along the way. Number one, don't be afraid to be different. There is a story that I heard once of a farmer who found this egg while walking on his farm. He assumed that it belonged with the chickens, so he put it with the rest of the chicken eggs. When the egg hatched, out came this big, oversized, awkward chicken. It walked funny. In fact, it couldn't walk at all. And one day, to avoid falling, it flapped her wings and flew away. Turns out, it was not a chicken, it was an eagle. Not a chicken after all. And do not clip your wings to fit anyone's mold. It is through your difference that your originality emerges. It is also through your difference that you create your relevance to the world. Number two, do what you love. Live your passion. It is what will get you the energy during those times when you are too tired and want to give up. My company does video and audio automation for a lot of the award shows. This one time we were doing the Andre Agassi Award Show. We arrived about 7 p.m., worked till 5 a.m., and this schedule continued endlessly. It was very easy to miss the flurry of stars everywhere. I actually bumped into Santana, there was the Killers, Seinfeld, but it was very easy to miss all of that on very little sleep. But we had one guy on our team. He would come in, pick up his task list, look at what he's working on, and go, woohoo! Everybody looked at him as if he was on something else. So one of the guys said to him, "What are you so excited about?" He shook his head, looked at him and said, "Are you kidding me? This is what I live for, the opportunity to work hard so that I can do what I love every single day. I wish for each of you to find your passion, high dive into it, and never leave." Number three, dare to dream audacious dreams. I'll leave you with my last story. There was a little kid in his kindergarten class. His teacher told him they could draw whatever they wanted. All the kids were done, but little Timmy was still fidgeting in the back. So his teacher asked him what he was drawing, and he said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And his teacher laughed and said, "Oh, Timmy, but no one knows what that looks like." In his innocence, he looks up, eyes as wide as plates, beaming with excitement. He says, "So they'll know when I'm done with my picture." Today, every single one of us has access to the tools to express thoughts, share ideas, and create a vision of the unknown, to find our inner Timmy. What picture will you draw for the world? When I left home at 16, I saw my father cry for the very first time. He said to me, "My child," Africans can be dramatic. He said, "My child, my hope for you is to always see the world with a sense of wonder. And my dream for you is to make magic wherever you point your focus." I promise I won't cry here. Looking at all of you, I see such a vision of beauty as you get ready to receive your Jedi powers, as you get ready to go on your own journey. Today, my dream for you is to always see the world with a sense of wonder. And that my hope is that you too make magic wherever you point your focus. Thank you so much. Woo!